how to open a portal to oneness. Awakening is the energetic process of becoming, the soul fully integrating into your human existence. That is the actual awakening process. It is a becoming, and that's an energetic, evolutionary transformation. We are evolving into completely new beings that exist in this world. By doing the work we talk about all the time, you're slowly opening the portal to oneness. That's an energetic thing, not just some concept. When you work with the 20 ways of oneness, these are the enlightened frequencies that as you become them, and there's 12 levels to each and every way of oneness, as you move through and evolve and understand what it means to become every way, you're opening portals of those frequencies, of those ways of oneness within your own energetic fields now. You will actually have 20 portals of the ways anchored into your energetic system. So you function in levels 1 through 3 until you master those levels. And then you evolve energetically to a higher level. As that happens, the portals to oneness, all 20 of them, they start anchoring into your energetic fields. And depending on how evolved you become, how elevated you become, those portals start to open and become bigger and bigger. So the expansiveness that you are in creating your reality and then anchoring into your particular individual life experience are going to be filtered through those frequencies of the ways. Welcome to Masters of Self University podcast, your highest source of sacred truths and universal wisdom. Hello, beautiful souls. I'm Rachel Fiori, mystic, spiritual teacher, psychic healer, and founder of Masters of Self University. Join our journey of soul transformation as we deep dive into this latest episode. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to Masters of Self University podcast. I am here with a very, very special episode with very incredible, special, amazing beings. I am co-hosting today with Ellie Lee and Danny Morley. Welcome, everybody, to Masters of Self University podcast.
Hi, everybody.
Let's go.
Let's talk about how to open a portal to oneness and what this whole existence even consists of incarnating here. That's a big topic. And what does this even mean? Where shall we start?
Well, let's start with where we're at in the world, right? Before we even get to oneness, like, where are we at? Because I know you like to call, what we're seeing right now is either the old earth or the fallen earth. I know some people were to refer it to like the shadow earth. So where are we at? What do you see on the planet right now, Rachel?
I mean, I see the old earth crumbling. I see which is patriarchy. Patriarchy is the old earth, and that means duality consciousness, separation consciousness. That's what old earth is, literally. It is patriarchy, duality, separation. All of that is synonymous. We are completely separated now. Old earth, new earth, but new earth doesn't mean it's just, oh, here we are, new earth paradise. No, we have to create it. It's not just you walk and there's heaven on earth. Like, that's, people need to grow up and become the first way of oneness, which is a way of responsibility, and realize we are responsible for creating it. We have to become it within ourselves individually first. That is how new earth is being created. And then we get to experience what we create by creating newer versions of our individual selves. So that is what's happening right now. That's what this global awakening, very watered down and simply put, means. But I do see old earth, that extreme separation, fighting, battling, clawing to stay alive, pulling out all the stops, doing everything that evil will do in order to try to stay alive and stay in charge and in control and in domination and to continue to, create this slave planet, because that's what it is. It's a prison planet. It's a planet of enslavement. That's old Earth. We will still see the effects of all of those things for a period of time. And you'll be able to witness that on old Earth for a period of time. But the tricky part is to truly evolve yourself and not get trapped into the energetic frequencies of old Earth, and therefore continue to fuel it, anchor it in place, keep it alive for longer than it needs to be. We just need to let it wither and die. It's just going to, it's like a fire burning itself out. Like, it'll burn out. We just have to let it.
Right, because it's in separation, and it's looking outside of itself, right?
Yes.
For that fuel, and it's
Yes.
consuming and it's battling. So that brings us to and then I even remember about 2 years ago now recording a podcast with you, for any listeners who want to go back, the golden age of harmony, as we shifted into this age of Aquarius. And obviously this is where the new Earth is being created in this new age. So talk us through what that means.
It just means that we need to evolve as humans and create a harmonious existence here. I mean, it is why we came here, literally. It's why we incarnated this time around. We have to go through the ascension process. We have to awaken for real. None of this pseudo spiritual bullshit that's out there. That's got to go too. That's part of old Earth. But to become the 20th way, universal way of oneness, is the way of harmony. And to become that means you literally, energetically, vibrationally raise your frequency and level of consciousness into each and every single way of oneness to become the final way, which includes all 20 ways. That's the way of harmony. So harmonious existence means that I am the vibrational frequency of the way of harmony. I know how to harmonize energetically negative, lower frequencies, evil, all the things. Like, I know how to harmonize that energy in order for that to not take over again. It doesn't mean negative energies cease to exist completely. It means as they get created, because we're divine creator beings, as they get created, it's, oh, I see what I've just created, and I need to alchemize that and switch that energy so it doesn't start to imprint itself onto the planet and onto the humans and the beings around me, because that's how energy works. That's what the teachings of oneness consciousness are.
Yeah, and I'd love for you to go deeper into, because I think a lot of people, and I see a lot of it on social media, they think that, oh, well, I'll just be new Earth and I'll just leave old Earth. And it's a lot of people that deem themselves as very spiritual, right?
Yep.
And people don't understand that to walk, there's a path of walking as a true awakening being, and then there's all the bypassing and the bullshit and all that stuff. So could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. It's, first of all, there's no such thing as ascension without descension. There's no such thing. So all that spiritual bypassing, toxic positivity, just be positive only, none of that is old Earth, because that literally is pseudo spiritualism, and it is a lot of various forms of spiritual bypassing. There is no such thing as authentic ascension without descension, because here's the truth, as the way of truth. We descended to even come here. So let's go over what that means. We are already descending when we just incarnate here, right? So what that means is the descension is what always leads to ascension. So let's start there. Descension always leads to ascension. That's it. You want to ascend, you've descended first. So the potentiality, the possibility of ascension is you descend. So you have to understand that when you are separating from the one, the original one, the only one that actually exists, source, creator, goddess, the goddess of all. Okay, so the one. When you fracture off a piece of that, it's all divine, in order to incarnate and create another soul, a being that is different, that is quote unquote divinely separate from the one. When you do that and incarnate on a planet as a human, that divine separation, that incarnation, you are descending down to a lower form than the original form. That is divine. It's not, there's nothing, our minds really want to make it like inferior, you were born a sinner, all those religious bullshit programming, brainwashing crap that religions do. It's, there is already a descension. You are not in your ultimate form while you're here as a human. And if you're truly enlightened, it's like that, okay, that's not a big deal because I came here to experience things this way. So you're already descended. That divine separation from the one, from the original source goddess of all that is, into a human, that divine separation leads to descension. That's what incarnation is. That alone is descension. When you've descended here, dropped down into a lower form here, meaning lower vibrationally, doesn't mean inferior, just different, a different form, a lower vibrational form. Divine separation leads to descension, which leads to the programming of one's alternate reality. So then you go through the phase of programming your reality in this form. That's the first 7 years of human life. You're being programmed. You don't remember where you came from because you're being programmed into the program of humanism. What does it mean to be a human? So you spend the first 7 years being programmed into humanism so that you can live in a reality where you have to function as a human. Okay. So that then leads to the possibility of ascension. So divine separation leads to descension, incarnation in a different form. Then the programming of one's alternate reality, this human earth reality versus just being source. Okay. That once you've been programmed here to live out this reality as a human, you're now programmed. And that means you can now move through an ascension and start to wake up to the parts of you that you've, been blindfolded on, like that you've forgotten about on purpose so that you could fully be programmed into humanism. So that awakening process, that ascension process, then that you now, it's opened and available for you. That process is the awakening process of the integration. This is still an extension of this humanism programming. Okay. You program yourself as a human for the first 7 years of your life. And then there's the awakening process of, it's the integration of your source goddess creator self into your human self. Okay. Because that is supposed to be the process we move through. That is a stage and a step of having this human reality. We just skipped over it because of the enslavement and the brainwashing. Like we literally are, all this is withheld from us so we don't go through this process. That's supposed to be the next process. So the achievement then of full enlightenment, because that is supposed to be what everybody achieves at a certain point, that means then you evolve over time for the rest of your life as a being of oneness consciousness, and you get to live and create the joy and the bliss and the experiences and the, I experienced this, that, and the other, no matter what that is. You get to just create as a human and have all these incredible experiences. We are supposed to go through a process of divine separation, descension, the programming into humanism, and then the ascension process of awakening and integrating our source creator goddess self into the human self, and then achieve that enlightenment. Enlightenment doesn't mean you don't live a human life. All that pseudo spiritual brainwashing bullshit where you just sit on a mountain, meditate the rest of your life away. That's all garbage. That's old earth. That's still part of you being a slave. That's the true process of coming here and experiencing human reality. The process that is as the way of purity, the way it's meant to be for us to be here.
Yeah, a lot of people hear that, like not that teaching specifically, but a lot of people hear that like, okay, so I'm a soul and I'm supposed to awaken and I'm not who I really am and all of these things. And then they start waking up to the enslavement. And they get trapped there, a lot of them, right?
Yep.
So they get so focused on there, and there's no teacher or teaching until you, obviously, to teach them how to actually become New Earth. So
Yeah.
I'd love for you to just dive deeper into that, because people think that awakening is awakening to the enslavement of New Earth, of old Earth, and that's it.
Right. Yeah. That awakening is the energetic process of becoming, the soul fully integrating into your human existence. That is the actual awakening process. What you see, language is limiting. I need to emphasize this. We don't have enough language to describe all of this stuff. Part of the enslavement process has been to dumb down our language so we don't even have the communication, so that everybody's miscommunication screws everything up, and it's really an interference. So this is why part of what I'm here to teach is what actual energetics are, right? Because when you read the energy of things, it's the precursor to gaining the ability of telepathy truly. And that's important, because part of our being dumbed down is so that we don't have these advanced skills, so that there's constant miscommunication. We don't understand each other. So I have to make that clear. So just because you're starting to see and realize what, that the Roman Empire never really fell, it just switched into the Roman Catholic Church. And that's the global cult that rules the whole goddamn world, with sectors of subcults, things like that. You start to see what your governments are, and the evil on the planet, and the trafficking, and the this and the that, and what really is going on. You're like, oh my God, what is this? This is terrible. Just because you're seeing those things and realizing that that is the truth doesn't mean you're raising your level of consciousness. And in a lot of ways, people then get trapped in fear, depression, hopelessness, anxiety, powerlessness. Oh my gosh, the powerlessness there that we get trapped in. That's not awakening. Just because you see horrific things doesn't mean you're an awakened being. If you witness, a man attacking a woman on the street, you witness it, you see it. That doesn't mean you're awakened. That doesn't mean you're powerful. What do you mean? You just see it. Right? Like, that's what people, because they haven't truly awakened, they don't understand that just because that, I want to be careful what I say and the examples I give so the video doesn't get taken down. Just because they know, who's really running the government, just because they know the truth about, the sick care system and pharmaceutical companies and big ag and blah, blah, just because they know that this stuff exists, that doesn't mean you're an awakened being. And that's where we have to mature, like spiritual maturity. Like, it's time, people. It's time. Come online, do the real work, energetically raise your level of consciousness. And just because you're spiritual and you know about certain things does not mean you're an awakened being or you have a high level of consciousness. In fact, a lot of people go deeper into unconsciousness when they begin that spiritual path, the journey to what awakening is, because they get freaked out and they get scared and they see all the horrors of the world. And then what they do is they try to escape it. And then, they use their coping mechanisms, or they go deep into pseudo spirituality because it's just another escape. Oh, I want to feel good all the time, so I'm going to go do all these methods to make me feel good all the time, instead of just awakening for real and turning into the warrior you're meant to become in order to win and be on the side of the light of this spiritual warfare that we're here to experience and win the war.
And I've also seen people it's a trap too, because then all they emanate is judgment and anger and hate,
Yeah.
and just because they're so angry about what's being revealed to them. And it's like, that's not awakening at all, because you're just trapping
It's
yourself in
still
the old earth. Yeah.
separation consciousness. Or
Mhm.
they do the other extreme, which is two sides of the same coin. Oh, it doesn't matter that a rapist is our president.
Mm.
It doesn't matter. Oh, just isn't this what it means to be spiritual? Is we put up with hate and racism and violence and women being burned on subways. This just, let's be kind, let's be nice. What the fuck is wrong with everybody? Oh, that's right. They're not actually awakened for real. That's what's wrong with everybody. That's always what's wrong with everybody. That's what's wrong with the planet. That's what's wrong with the world. That's what's wrong with groups of people that come together to do dark, evil, heinous things. that's what's wrong with humanity, is that we have to, quote unquote, fight to awaken and stop at nothing to awaken ourselves as individuals in order for this kind of nonsense to no longer exist. And yes, that's all representative of old Earth, the violence, the scarcity, the survival programs, the enslavement, the heinous, constant men raping everything. The earth herself, women, children, other men. Like, it is just unfathomable what the world has turned into, how evil. And yet, anybody that thinks just because Earth herself is, ascending, she's raising her vibrational frequency, and that means you automatically get to be on New Earth because you're aware of that. That doesn't mean you're an awakened being. Your energetic frequencies will anchor you into old Earth. And at some point in the years to come, there's no such thing as going back and forth. You are on that earth for the rest of this lifetime, whichever one you energetically chose. Your frequency anchors you to New Earth because you really are doing the work to evolve, or it anchors you to old Earth. And by the way, anybody that wants to come on here and listen to this and start judging and doing their projection of, that's just more separation. You have no clue, completely ignorant to what oneness consciousness is. Full-blown ignorance right there. You're projecting your judgment. You're also triggered because it's activating things inside of you that are unhealed. You're scared, worried, insecure. You feel inferior, and you're really worried you're going to be anchored on that old earth because you hear what I'm saying. That right there shows you are.
Yeah, when I when I first heard you give that teaching a while back, I remember going straight into, oh my God, I'm not going to make it. And that's been a program I've been working on for the past couple of years. So I've truly experienced that within myself, of like running those exact programs, of hearing that and not hearing the place of power that you're coming from. And because it's being filtered through my own wound of fear, my own like wounds of powerlessness, that I'm not going to be able to make it there, and then causes a huge spiral. But luckily, I chose to start studying from you and learning from you over 3 years ago now. And what you have taught me has radically shifted who I am as a person. It's exactly what you said. It's allowed more of my soul to come online and integrate. I know I'm 100% not there about what you speak of, about being in full enlightenment, but I feel like I have radically changed in these last 3 years. And that's all thanks to you. So first off, thank you for everything that you've taught me and are bringing to the world. And that's another thing I just want to hone in right here, is like, this is you. This isn't like teachings that I remember asking you in class when this is like 3.5 years ago. Is this as similar to like Joe Dispenza? And like I listed off a couple of teachers, and I'm pretty sure you put me on my place pretty quickly and whipped me up real straight. It was like, no, this is me. This is 100% me. This is my original stuff. Yes. So like, where does this come from, Rachel?
Good question. So I'm going to cut the spiritual bullshit of people wanting to say the right thing so that everybody understands it and makes sure they like them. I don't give a fuck about that. I came in as a teacher of oneness, period, end. And I had to pass all my tests of initiation. I had to go through hell and back. I had to do all the things that is required, that are completely 100% required to enter into this lifetime, this world, and be a teacher as I am. It is not an easy path. It isn't something to want to fucking be because it's not what people think it is. It is, in a lot of ways, it's horrendous and it's hell. And yet my soul came here to be this teacher. I am the teacher of oneness consciousness, period, end. That is my beingness. So the teachings that come through that are connected to the cosmos, that are connected to my higher selves and every being that I have ever incarnated as. So my divine team is mostly made up of the beings that I have incarnated as every time I've incarnated anywhere that I've incarnated. And that is the wisdom of knowing I am the original teacher of oneness that can teach you how to actually accomplish what that means and break down and dismantle every fucking program that any individual has within themselves that functions vibrationally, energetically as a program of separation and duality and illusionary false bullshit reality that people get trapped in their mental programs and emotional programs. That is what I am. It is what I am here to do. It's what I've had to evolve into and become in my human form. You don't get to escape that. There's no passive anything in becoming. You have to achieve it in human form. My entire life has been about achieving, coming up my human self, matching what my soul self is, integrating both as one, because you're not a teacher of oneness if you don't complete it and do it yourself first, right? So my lifetime so far has been to match where my soul can, first of all, my human body can handle all of this to come through me, right? So my physical self has to elevate and ascend. But it's been about me learning how to allow all of me, all versions of me who have incarnated before that come directly from the one, source goddess herself, and flow through me as a vessel to bring this to this world during the age of Aquarius. I'm just that teacher. So it comes from me. It comes from all versions of me, and that comes from literally the extension of the one in order to help this planet evolve and actually teach people how to create new earth, and not, it's some manifestation that you're here to learn. It's you have to become it so that we can completely dismantle this old slave system. I mean, that's simply put. I mean, it would take me 3 hours to go into detail, and I'm not going to do that yet. People aren't ready to hear it, and that's okay. But that's good enough for now, I think.
Yeah, that's perfect. And so, how do you become a being of oneness consciousness?
Yeah, you start with going in and awakening to and discovering every aspect of your shadow that is not, that functions in polarization, duality, separation, that patriarchy matrix, that energetic system that makes up your beingness and holds those programs in place, all your unhealed traumas, all your unhealed inner child wounds, every place that you're powerless and small and you show up in this world as a harmful person, every aspect of you that you don't want to look at. That's where you start. That's the descension process. So I already explained what the global descension process, divine separation, descension, human programming, but the human programming to humanism so that you can live a life as a human. That's where everything goes wrong on this planet because it's a prison planet. That's where everything goes wrong. We get programmed with so many harmful, weak, powerless, survival, unhealthy programs that we don't even know what to do with ourselves. We can't even handle seeing it all. But that's the then descension at the micro level. You descend into your own unloving, horrible, heinous, dark, evil, inequality programs, all of it. You have to descend into that shadow self. Once you see what's there and you start to learn what alchemy actually is, you start to learn and become the way of wisdom in the meantime, that all of these energies are just, these programs are just streams of consciousness flowing through you, creating the reality outside of you, from you, as you. So as you elevate, it is a process over time. You are not suddenly one day an awakened being. We need to grow up and stop being so entitled and arrogant and immature. It is a process that takes time in order to descend into all the ugly, the pain, the suffering that you energetically have trapped in your body, how that affects you even physically. There's often physical healing that has to happen along with you starting to wake up to these things. Learn how to manage energies for real, not I'm an energy healer. Get fuck old earth. It's this energetic stream of consciousness is flowing through me, creating my reality. And I look at my reality and there's things about my reality that suck, that are unloving, that I don't like. Great. You see it. Beautiful job. From there, what do you do about it? That's the awakening process for real. That's how you start to become a being of oneness consciousness, is you learn how to alchemize and transform those energies, which means you're learning how to alchemize and transform yourself. Here comes the death, rebirth. What we refer to in spirituality as death, rebirth, is those streams of consciousness are dying. And then what's replacing them are the enlightened streams of consciousness from oneness that you're learning how to replace them with. Your physical body then has to elevate. There's your ascension symptoms. Your physical body has to expand, has the capability to then expand into holding more light, higher, more potent frequencies. And then your job is to learn how to stabilize and maintain those frequencies at this level. And as soon as you're stable and you're like, great, life is easy. Great. Now it's time to go to a level higher, because you ain't done. This is a process that takes a long time. We've had centuries of this bullshit programmed into us, including at the level of our DNA. So you're now in this, you're now recoding your DNA as well. The level of transformation and that time that takes is a long time, right? And for some people, it'll be a lifetime. But as you learn to master each level, you're learning to master yourself. Your soul self is integrating more with your human self. Your shadow aspect, patriarchal old earth aspect, is being dismantled, is dissolving, is dying off. And the rebirth, the more elevated, more highly conscious you that you are mastering, this is what it means to master the self and to awaken for real. And then you'll go to the next level higher and the next level higher. You're not born, and then a month later, you're earning a doctorate degree. You age, you progress, you elevate, you master being 5 years old, 9 years old, you master, the level of education that you're at any given time, and then you go higher. And that's what people need to understand about the true awakening process and what it means to become a being of oneness. Just because you say the words doesn't mean you are. We have to learn how to become, and this is the beginning process of learning that.
There was a student in our Discord community recently who obviously is taking classes right now, and she said that through learning from you, she is getting a glimmer into what you had to move through to become the teacher of oneness consciousness, right? And there's a lot of people out there who say, well, isn't this my birthright? So it should be free. Like all of this should just be free for me. And I definitely get pretty heated when people say that, because there's such a lack of honoring in what a teacher had to become to be able to bring this to the world. And then there's the whole, in the spiritual world, everybody's a teacher. Everybody is a healer, but nobody has actually become what they actually teach.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that, there's a huge teaching you can speak on here about a lot of people who I get DMs all the time. Like, you should be giving this for free. Why aren't you doing this for free? It should be, because it's spirituality. And it's like, oh my God, you have no idea.
Yeah. So the first question to those people, so you go to work and you just work for free? You slave away at how many hours a day at your job and you don't get paid a fucking thing? What is wrong with people? This is a perfect example of the brainwashing of old earth. 100% old earth. So people can run and kick a ball and catch a ball, and they can earn millions and millions of dollars because they can fucking run fast. But people who can actually transform the entire planet should get nothing. Like, think about that. Let that sink in, to where that extreme duality, that's the brainwashing of keeping people enslaved, where you're not honoring what people have to offer and what they've had to go through to become the being who can guide you to become that too, right? This concept of giving everything away for free shows your weakness, your powerlessness. What you actually think about yourself is so low. It is so inferior. You run inferior programs so that when you see somebody more powerful than you, what you're doing is you're projecting your jealousy, your inferiority onto them. You're projecting that they think they're superior and they shouldn't charge. You're projecting the piece of shit that you deep down inside need to heal within yourself. You think you're the piece of shit. You're the one dishonoring. These are your deep wounding programs that probably is a child at 2 years old that's trapped in there, or 6 years old, a child that feels so insignificant and small. You want someone else that you see as super powerful to be insignificant and small. I want to make you insignificant and small. Those are the energies that come out of people. I want you to be smaller so that I feel better about myself. And I want to be that powerful. I want to be that teacher. I want to be that healer. And I'm not right now, so I can't charge. So you shouldn't be able to charge either. How old are you? How immature are you? How dishonoring are you of other people and what they've accomplished and what they've become to help you get there? And you don't think that they should be able to pay their fucking bills? What do you think? They should just walk the streets in their bare feet, saying, I'll give it all for free? Well, the funny, ironic thing about that is somebody walking the streets homeless because they're giving it all away for free. How many of you would stop and listen to that person and learn from them? Get the fuck out of here. You'd be like, get a job, man. You want everything for free. Like, this is how psychotic people are. Are we this stupid? Oh, wait, we still are. That's what we need to awaken out of. And those people, unfortunately, a lot of them, they know nothing about energetics because they're not bothering to invest in the people that can teach them the truth about energetics to evolve for real. And therefore, energetically, they're actually anchoring themselves onto old earth. That's fine. Give it 7, 8, 10 years. You won't see them anymore. They'll be gone because they really will. There will be a separation so extreme. We're already completely separate, old earth and new earth, but we are drifting farther apart where you're not going to be able to see or go back and forth anymore at a certain point. Those people, you won't see them anymore at a certain point because some of them will have evolved out of the brainwashing bullshit powerlessness themselves, or they've anchored themselves onto old earth and they'll keep running those programs there, where people who really offer next to nothing on this planet at all that's healthy and beautiful and healing are billionaires, and the ones who actually are offering the most priceless things they can offer, are survival mode, struggling, can't even afford to feed themselves because everybody around them, they're keeping them low. I won't pay for that. Give it for free. Well, how fucking entitled are you that you think you deserve this kind of wisdom for free? How entitled are you? Let's wake up and start honoring other people and their ability to take us higher. Let's honor them in the ways that we should be honoring them.
Yeah, and it comes back to that. We are creating this prison planet. We as the humans. And I remember hearing this like a while ago, like a number of years ago, as I was moving through my own like awakening journey. And intellectually, it made sense. I was like, yeah, all right. But something has shifted within the last couple of months for me as I'm taking your quantum energetics class right now. And as I'm like learning at a more advanced level than I have been, I'm starting to really, really feel and like really know inside of myself that I am the one that's creating my reality. And we hear so many people say that. So many different spiritual teachers have come and they've told us this. And you can read it in a million different books. But it wasn't until I've actually gone through the energetic process that I could fully understand what that means. Could I actually feel the truth like inside of me that, this program that I'm running, this thing that I'm creating, this pattern that I'm in, I'm the one that's making it. I'm the one that's anchoring myself into the prison planet, the old earth.
Yes.
And until I learn how to actually transform energy and transform myself and actually raise my vibration, can I actually set myself free from anchoring into these old places? And if I don't realize what I'm anchoring into or how I'm doing it or why I'm doing it, I'll just continue to keep doing that.
Yes.
And what I've realized is that obviously there's many different things that are running in our blind spot. And, this is everything that you've taught us to go into. But now I'm having this real experience of realizing I am the creator.
Yes.
I'm starting to really, really feel that. And that obviously is incredibly powerful when you grow up learning that God is a man in the sky, through the brainwashing of religion, right? That's the general consensus. Everybody is treated like very disempowered,
little
kids,
children.
little children, always looking outside of them to mom or dad, in all of these different ways that shows up, in order to have some sort of, love or connection or whatever. And like having that realization is, it's allowing me to understand more about like this, how we create our realities in the old earth, right? And then, so how do we're working through all of this programming, we're getting through, how do we then get to the new earth from this new place of realizing I am the creator? Take us there.
You've already touched on it. It's creating it within yourself. So when we say get to the new earth only exists as you create it to be so. There is no new earth. It doesn't exist unless we elevate high enough to actually create it. And those are the dimensions. Those are the infinite realities that we can have, the earth realities, the dimensions that we can create and choose to have collectively. Right? So it's a matter of truly understanding energetics, is that people can talk about a new earth all they want to, but the people who are literally creating it, it is automatically being created by the vibrational frequencies that you yourself are evolving into. And the more people who evolve into those higher frequencies of oneness versus separation, this is key. I want everybody listening, listen so carefully to what I'm sharing, I'm teaching you right now. When you continue to run separation programs and you don't even know what that means, all you're doing is you're still living on old earth. You're just making it look a little different. That's it. Period. End. When you have no idea what separation programs even are, vibrationally, you don't know what they feel like. So therefore, you can't possibly know the difference and gain that level of discernment of what oneness frequencies feel like. You're not creating a new earth. You're just shifting your quantum jumping timelines on an old earth. That's all you're doing. You're creating different manifested realities that continue to be what the old earth is. That's it. And that's what a lot of people are still doing. Right? So when people say things like, well, we just need to accept that a rapist is the president of the United States. Let's be kind. That's fucking, are you kidding me? So it's okay to have a goddamn narcissistic, psychopathic rapist leading a country. Really? Who's trying to become dictator like Hitler? Really? That's what you think is oneness? That is separation at the worst levels, that we tolerate allowing someone like that to even call themselves a leader, let alone give them power to make decisions over a bunch of people. It's asinine. And the level of stupidity there is like, it's almost not worth talking about. If that's where people are functioning, that's okay. There's no judgment about it. But if people claim to be waking up for real, then you have to be waking up for real. And those are the places where we start. People don't even know the difference. Oh, it's separation if you set a boundary. Oh my God. Well, that's separation, old earth. You have no idea what oneness even is. It's, oh, this is inclusion, when it's nothing but separation. No, I'm sorry. The rapist is actually the one in separation, and that's the one that we need to set a boundary with. In oneness, we protect the people that he's trying to harm. That's oneness. It isn't us being in separation because we set a boundary and say no more violence to women, no more harming children, no more pedophiles in the church, right? That, like, oh, you're a pedophile, you rape children, come on over. This is oneness, this is inclusion. I want you to babysit my kids for the weekend because, oneness. That's not oneness. That is absolute stupidity, and it is separation consciousness. Why? Because you're allowing a harmful, violent person who will harm your children to come into your home, and you are brainwashed and stupid enough to think that that's inclusion. That's inclusion, and that's what oneness is. No, it isn't. You don't have first fucking clue what oneness is. You're still too brainwashed in separation, patriarchy world. That's old earth. And those are the teachings where people need to start, okay, you know what? Toughen up a little bit here. It's time to grow up for real and understand where we're still trapped in separation. People can't even understand what oneness is because they don't have the power to set the boundaries because they're too afraid what people will think or say or cancel them and lose followers and all that bullshit. That's old earth. That's all separation. It's all weakness. It's all powerlessness. You're imprisoned and enslaved. You're enslaved to what needing validation and acknowledgement from other and approval from other people. That is the old earth. That's the old earth. And so we have to start to wake up to that, to what oneness actually is. And you can't intellectually conceptualize it. And that's the problem. You cannot intellectually conceptualize it. You have to take one step at a time and energetically evolve and become it one step at a time, higher and higher. The more you evolve energetically like that, that is how you begin to actually comprehend what oneness truly is. And again, rising higher means you first descend into your own programming of separation, identify them, feel them, see them, bring love to them, alchemize them with the way of connection, the connection to your own soul. Only when you do that do you start to actually rise higher. You have to descend lower before you can ever achieve true ascension. Those are the first steps at becoming a being of oneness, right? It's not just let's get to the new earth. We're creating it by doing this process that we're speaking of here today.
And you've obviously built an incredible university exactly for this, right? To guide students, people through. And it's something that I did a lot before I found you, is a lot of spiritual education. At least that's what I thought it was, right? I was just cramming my head full of spiritual concepts and reading all this stuff. And it was quite expansive coming from where I came from. But what is true spiritual education, and how is what we do at MSU different from everything else?
It's actual energetic transformation, your soul integrating and guiding you through your life. And it isn't just mindset bullshit. Mindset crap that, oh, say your affirmations. Well, you know nothing about energy. If that's sometimes the worst thing you could do is start saying affirmations. And for those of you listening, hopefully you'll get a curiosity of like, whoa, really? Why? Exactly. That's what we teach you here, is so critical to understand energetics that sometimes the worst thing you could do is start saying affirmations nonstop. Because when you have wounds and programs, those streams of consciousness that are already a part of who you are, when you go against those by saying some affirmation that you think is positive, it will activate those streams of consciousness that are like, we don't do that. Like, no, we're not wealthy. We don't do abundance here. We suffer in scarcity. If that's what's programmed in there and you just try to go against it, it actually activates those lower streams of consciousness in you. And then your reality starts to get much worse, or it can. It either stays the same or it gets worse. You're actually activating the potentiality for you to experience more extreme levels of scarcity, poverty, lack, whatever, just in this one example. When you understand energy, you would never just start saying some affirmations for the sake of saying them because some pseudo spiritual bullshit taught you that and they made money off of you. It's you go in and understand, what are the energies that are flowing through me? What are the streams of consciousness that are flowing through me that I need to take care of and get rid of? You learn how to alchemize those, and then you replace those with a different stream of consciousness, one that you prefer. And maybe that one is prosperity or financial abundance. It could be whatever you want, which is the fun part. But this is where it's very different. It isn't mindset crap. None of it is surface level. None of it is surface level. None of it is try to change your behavior and form a new habit. And then in a month or 3, that is just nonsense. That's preschool, kindergarten level. And I'm not judging it. It's fine that it exists. A lot of people need to go through that stuff before they realize, oh shit, I need to do real work on myself. Because part of the brainwashing of the old earth is to sit passively by life and let it happen to you. And that's part of the problem. It's very deep programming in a lot of people. Or they go to some extreme of they have to grind and hustle, 800 hours a week to deserve anything. That's the other two sides of the same coin. Those are the programs we need to get rid of. Understanding that energetically and then learning exactly how, with precision, to go in, gain the energetic power. You have to gain energetic power. Literally, you have to energetically expand. That is the difference between Masters of Self University, what I am here to teach people, and what is often offered with just write in your journal, rephrase, rename, speak, positively about yourself. Like, that's surface level bullshit. I don't waste my time with that crap. You want to go spend money on mindset stuff where a little bit of it might work sometimes. But again, if you don't energetically understand why that is, you're in the wrong place. You should come to Masters of Self University, because we teach you every step of the way how to become exactly what we teach. It is a becoming, and that's an energetic, evolutionary transformation. We are evolving into completely new beings that exist in this world. We are literally evolving into completely new energetic beings that hold way more light than we have for centuries. And that is the process of becoming. And we teach you that step by step, every step of the way, every grade, so to speak. We take you higher, higher, higher so that you can actually become what we're speaking about. Your soul can integrate fully over time. That's the biggest difference. It's actual transformation. It is actual enlightenment, and none of the fake definitions of what those things mean.
Yeah, and I'll speak for myself. A lot of the people and the students that come through our university are people who have done it all. They've done all the modalities. They've been doing this for years and years, the meditation, the breath work,
Yep.
and it only gets you so far. It's
Yep.
like a snail trying to cross the road. It's going to take forever. And so what have you seen with the students across the board? Kind of if someone's listening to this and they're like, am I the kind of student that can go into MSU and do the work? What does our ideal student look like?
Our ideal student looks like somebody who's ready to motherfucking go and create a new world. They're tired of living in hell and being enslaved, and they are willing and devoted to doing whatever it takes to transform themselves from the inside out. They don't have to know how. You don't have to know how. We're the ones that know how. That's what I'm here for. I'll teach you how. But if you're not willing, if you are unwilling to become completely different, evolved, a higher being on this planet, if you're not willing to become that and do the work to get there, and if you're unwilling to learn how to move through pain and alchemize pain, then you're just not ready for this yet. And that's okay. There's never a judgment of that. If you think you're going to say some affirmations and write in your meditation or your manifestation journal and just meditate for 15 minutes once a day, and you're going to passively, like a lazy passive, I don't have to put any effort into life, that's not an awakened being. It certainly isn't a warrior that we need during this spiritual warfare time of global awakening. If that's not who you're ready to become, that's okay. Go do the surface level other crap that's out there. Go do it and have fun with it. And I hope you enjoy yourselves, because a lot of it can be really fun to play with. It's wonderful. Go have those experiences. You're not ready for this, though. This is evolving for real. This is actual evolution. Evolution, to build bigger muscles, you actually put little tears in your muscles. You're sore. It hurts. So there's levels of processing this work where you're going to feel the pain of the work. You're going to have ascension symptoms where it feels like you have the flu. You're going to have things where, oh, I'm uncomfortable. Yeah, I know. Get out of old earth. You're either drowning in your suffering, or you think everything should be so easy that you're a lazy, entitled piece of shit. Two sides of the same coin. But again, duality, hello, that's old earth. That's what patriarchy taught you. So this isn't that. So our ideal student, it doesn't matter how young or old you are. It doesn't matter where in the world you live. If you're a woman, if you're a man, it doesn't, none of that matters. What matters is you're ready to put the work in. It's go time. It is go time. And if you're ready to go and you're sick and tired of being an enslaved piece of shit while billionaires get everything, and you're ready to create a new earth, and you realize you are one of the ones that have to actually do the work to create it by becoming yourself. You become new earth yourself first, and you're willing to learn what that means and take every step. That's the ideal student, because we're here to create a new world together. I ain't come here to fuck around, right? So you want to come here and dick around, that is okay. I'll never judge you for it, but you ain't coming here. There's a difference here. Like, let's go to work.
Absolutely. Amazingly said. And I'd love to bring it back to where we, kind of started out with this podcast, which is opening portals. And this is something that, I mean, when I've been in healings with you, sometimes when I'm not even the one, being coached or, receiving the healing, I can feel portals opening up inside of me, coming from you in the session, like in the group, like blown away by what it is I'm feeling, and certain things you'll just start as you'll be activating a certain way of oneness. All of a sudden, my body is just flooded with different energies, and it is quite the experience. Obviously, it does take, like for me, when I first started this work, I was extremely closed off to all that. And it's a process that we have to go through of opening our heart, doing the work that you teach, and then starting to activate the ways of oneness and these like divine frequencies. So what is it like, and how do we open this portal to oneness?
Yeah. I mean, we've already, first of all, I've already described it in this whole episode so far. That's how we start, right? So the more you become, you're opening within yourself a portal that you then are choosing to energetically move through in order to become a more expansive being of oneness. That's the first part. And that's the part where people want to hear the magic, like it's Harry Potter, and they want to just magically create this portal in front of them of like fire, and walk through it. And that's part of the problem from old earth, is we don't realize the work it takes to open and become a being of oneness ourselves. And we have to be willing to do that. When you're doing everything we've described here and what we often describe in our podcast and the things that we offer from, Masters of Self University, you are slowly, by doing the work we talk about all the time, you're slowly opening the portal to oneness. You are. Over time, everybody is starting to open a portal of what oneness actually means. That's an energetic thing, not just some concept. It is an energy, and it's like a sacred geometric pattern that starts to slowly open in your energetic fields so that you can function as a being of oneness over time, the more you elevate, right? So that's the truth about at least how we start to open that portal, is by doing the work and everything we talk about, by becoming the universal ways of oneness. So here's a fascinating thing. When you work with the 20 ways of oneness, these are the enlightened frequencies that create when you become them. These are the enlightened frequencies that, as you become them, and there's 12 levels to each and every way of oneness. As you move through and evolve and understand what it means to become every way, and level 1 to level 2, and you start rising higher and higher in your frequencies, you're opening portals of those frequencies, of those ways of oneness within your own energetic fields now. So people, they'll get to a certain level where all of a sudden there are these enlightened portals that start to connect to your energetic fields and anchor in. That doesn't happen on level 1. That doesn't happen on level 2. You have to continue to activate and work with them at level 3. But all of a sudden, for those who really are going to do this work and excel and take it a distance and truly become enlightened beings, from level 3 to the whole next jump up, that level 3 to 4, you will actually have 20 portals of the ways anchored into your energetic system, functioning. And how open or how expanded or how big they are, that depends on your level 4, 5, and 6. So levels 1 through 3, those octaves, you're not, the way of selfless service, level 9, but the way of responsibility, you're level 1. That's so out of balance. So you lack the way of equality. You're not in equilibrium. That's not even energetically possible. So you function in levels 1 through 3 until you master those levels. And then you evolve energetically to a higher level. When you go from 3 to 4, now you're in an octave where 4, 5, and 6, you'll fluctuate. So you might be, a level 3, or a level 6 in the way of compassion, but in the way of humility, you're still only that level 4. That's okay. That's normal. Those are octaves, and they're all within the frequencies that can sustain equilibrium, balance, which is higher level of the way, understanding of the way of equality. As that happens, the portals to oneness, all 20 of them, they start anchoring into your energetic fields. And depending on how evolved you become, how elevated you become, those portals start to open and become bigger and bigger. So the expansiveness that you are in creating your reality and then anchoring into your particular individual life experience are going to be filtered through those frequencies of the ways. So when you really learn this work, and I mean become it over time, and to get to what I'm saying right now, 7 years. But if you put the devotion in and you become that, what will happen is nothing can come to you from anyone else or anything on this planet that doesn't then get filtered through those portals of oneness. And now you're creating the level of evolution that we can achieve if we put the goddamn work in. That's what you can become energetically. Are these beings who, where your energetic fields that surround your physical body have 20 portals of oneness, and everything gets filtered through them before it hits your physical body, your life, your existence. Your life experiences will be automatically filtered. Why? Because every day of your life, you're working on becoming higher and higher. That's oneness. So if I'm working to elevate, then those portals that open up eventually, the things that come through and to me, they are filtered all automatically for me. I'm working to become the things that come through me. They have to become a higher frequency through those portals before it can even touch my life experience and create a life experience or a life reality for me. So it goes both ways. That's oneness. So, and people can start to achieve that just by elevating up to that levels 4, 5, and 6. 4, 5, and 6, when enough people get to those levels in one as a being of oneness consciousness, you're talking pure heaven on earth. Even though there's way higher up to 12, that's heaven on earth. There's no violence. There's no harming people. You might still hurt somebody's feelings. There is no violence on the planet when people could function 4, 5, and 6. At the first 3 levels of oneness, you're still going to deal with some of that stuff because they're not fully anchored into becoming a being of oneness yet. So that, in a nutshell, that's what it's like.
Yeah, it's perfect. And obviously that's the new earth, is when we're
That's
all
the new earth.
vibrating at that level. And we all have to do this epic journey of becoming. And I remember when I first started learning about the ways, I would get so frustrated because I can't feel these. I don't know what this means. And obviously I was massively trapped in my mind still about the whole process. And I liked the way of patience, the second way of oneness, which is just allow the process to unfold. Stop. Obviously, all of the programs that we run that are anchored into that old earth, they are going to disconnect us from being the ways.
Exactly.
And that is our journey then of, okay, well, let me unplug from this toxic system that I have been in, and I know this is what it creates. It just creates harm and anxiety and depression and and all these manner of different physical illness or whatever you want to look at, and let me plug it into this frequency up here. Because living as the way of harmony, that sounds pretty good. I would love to live as the way of harmony. So let's do the work to become that. Let's move through all the ways and move through all the levels. And then we get to have, as you mentioned, the heaven on earth. But obviously having that internal shift of realizing, this is something that I actually have to do. This
Yeah.
isn't, you know, a magical president that's going to come in and change the planet. It's no, we are the saviors. And I know you've mentioned this in so many podcasts.
Yeah.
It's like, it's having that internal shift. And obviously that lies back in that first way of responsibility. Like, this is our responsibility. We're not going to
Yes.
get there by just waiting for, you know, the old earth to completely crumble, which, I mean, there's credit, there's part of that which we, you know, do have to do, but we must become it. We must do this work to get there, and obviously that's why Ellie and I are part of this team, is to help with that process, to be coaches in this work, and to guide people on this journey of becoming, and that's what it's all about.
And it goes back to I'm going to mention this one more time, that old earth brainwashing, the program of what's my birthright to receive a new earth. That is literally old earth. That is the programming of the patriarchy, that I'm an entitled fuck who just can have whatever I want, no matter what. That, get out of here. It's disgusting. When you realize the truth of what you are, that you are a fractal of the one incarnated as a human. And I mean, intellectually, I don't care if anybody thinks they know this. It's not an intellectual discovery. It's an epiphany that you have at the soul level when your soul integrates enough into your human self and human experience here. That it's not about, well, it's my birthright, I should receive it, I deserve it. That you're a little child asking for mommy or daddy to hand you something on a silver platter. That is very different than what is taught in Oneness Consciousness teachings as a mystic of Oneness Consciousness. I'm going to obliterate that nonsense because it's all false and it's illusionary and it's part of old patriarchal bullshit anyway, right? It's, I am the creator incarnated. I am a fractal of the one. I am the goddess incarnated as me, as an individual. I am the micro and I am the macro. So if I incarnate in this physical world and I would like to receive experiences that are pleasurable to me, that are filled with divine joy, and I don't mean pleasurable from an arrogant, selfish, entitled, I mean from oneness, that I want to experience these beautiful things this time around, then I need to get my ass in gear and I need to do the work to create that on this planet. You are here as a creator being, so create. The problem is the old earth is a bunch of selfish, entitled, greedy fucks, and that's what they create from, which creates nothing but imbalance, nothing but harm. There's so much sacrifice and, you know, all the things that represent old earth. We need to become beings of oneness. And then when you say, I can have whatever I want, or I can create whatever I want, quote unquote, that comes from a very different place energetically. Because what I want and what I would love to experience while I'm alive here doesn't then cause you harm or harm to animals. It doesn't create torture. It doesn't create, do you understand? So it's when we can get to that place and realize, I am the creator being. I am a fractal of the one. And from that divine energy, I create a new earth that is every way of oneness because I am every way of oneness. And now we can really start to party and have fun in a very different way. In a very different way. It's partying from the beings, the consciousness of oneness, which means as we celebrate and create joy and experience this and have that in the material world, it isn't causing harm and destruction. We're not taking advantage. We're not exploiting anymore. None of that exists. It can't vibrationally when you are vibrationally so much higher. You're learning to become from an energetic vibrational space to where what you then create comes from your vibration. That's the truth all the time. The problem is what comes from our vibration currently is all the negative, lower programming from duality, separation consciousness, and patriarchy. That's what needs to go. And that's the work of becoming. So then creating a new earth becomes very easy when we're all creating from those enlightened vibrational frequencies of what the ways of oneness are.
You know, one of my favorite quotes from you is, the only thing that matters is your vibrational frequency. Yeah.
It is. It's the only thing that matters because it creates everything.
Yeah, and I love it when we were talking about like earning certificates and things, and you said one time, you're like, yeah, well, when you die, the only thing you take with you is your vibrational frequency. So why would you spend all this time trying to accrue this piece of paper when the only thing that matters is who you really are, where
Yes.
you vibrate at, what
Yes.
frequency you're at. That
Yes.
really is the only thing that really matters.
Yes.
Is like, where are you at? That's what we come down here to this, this planet to experience, is to, how do I evolve and, get a little further on this journey? Because
Exactly.
you're not taking that piece of paper with you.
No. And when you're becoming a being of oneness, you can add a certificate of something so that you know, just to gauge where you're at. Look at what I've accomplished so far. This is amazing that I've come this far. This shows the level, the grade I'm in, which is it can be a beautiful thing if coming from oneness frequencies, not, oh, look, I have 9 certification. I have this degree. I have that level of, okay, great. I mean, I do. I have high level of education. I went specialize in things and blah, blah, blah. It's like, but who cares if you vibrationally are not a higher being? That's when whatever degree, whatever certificates, whatever diplomas you have don't mean fuck all, honestly. They don't mean anything. And yet when you're becoming what those certificates or diplomas or degrees or whatever it is, when you are becoming what's just the symbol of what's printed on paper. Do you understand? Energetically, symbolic, that I can say, look at what I've become. And that doesn't come from, arrogance or pride. It's just the way of truth. This is what I've become so far. It's very different energy to have that on a diploma or a degree or a whatever, a certification or whatever, because I've become this. It feels very different than I have these other pieces of paper to prove to you my self-worth. It's like, get out of here, because you didn't make it. You didn't achieve much of anything. Who cares? Look at the way our physicians are trained, especially in the United States of America. So what? They have all those years of education when all they've been trained and brainwashed in is pharmaceutical bullshit science to keep people sick and mass symptoms. It doesn't even make any sense to say, oh, but the physician knows. You don't know fuck all, actually, because you haven't studied energy. You don't know what real medicine is, because that was ripped out of our medical field and medical schools decades and decades ago. That's another example. So it doesn't matter that you have all of that education and the degrees. You don't know it. And that's not a judgment of any physician. It is never a judgment. They go in with pure intention, thinking they're going to get this great education and they want to help heal people, except that the system itself is upside down and backwards. It's a bullshit system to keep people sick. Unfortunately, they've entered into that level of indoctrination, which isn't real education. So earning a degree or going and becoming a physician on New Earth, oh my God, you better believe that degree, that education, that experience, having those diplomas and to show how far you've gone, very important to have. But you see the difference. Completely different energy. That, yes, I am actually really qualified to help you because this is what I've become. This is what I've devoted myself to becoming, so that I can then be in the way of selfless service for you. And if I've never done jack shit, this is a pseudo spiritual bullshit, people out there. I've never done jack shit. I just am. I just am. And I can guide you. I'm a teacher now because I say so, and I can guide you. And I don't know fuck all about how to heal myself, but I'm a healer and I'm a spiritual teacher now. It's all so ridiculous. It doesn't just lack responsibility, the way of responsibility. It lacks the way of integrity. It also lacks the way of truth, and it lacks the way of trust. If you become the way of responsibility, you become and vibrate as the way of truth, as the way of trust, as the way of integrity, as the way of honoring, as the way of purity, you would never treat somebody or guide someone or teach somebody when you're not capable and qualified to do so. You would go become first. When you are there, now here's who I can teach. Now here's who I can educate or guide or counsel or heal or whatever. That's the difference. And that's why becoming each and every way, and we talk about it all the time, but to comprehend what each and every way actually means. that is a new earth. Those 20 ways of oneness, those frequencies to become them, that 100% is new earth, period, end. And it is why Masters of Self University is the new earth metaphysical university, because this is what we teach. And I don't let anything other than that be taught through this university. And if it ever is, I will take care of it, because I don't allow anything less than that. And if you show up as less than that, you had your chance. Goodbye, you're gone, because we walk our talk here at this university.
Amazing. And that leads us to, so someone's ready. They're like, let's go. I'm open. This is exactly what I want to do. What are the necessary next steps that they can take to become a student at Master Self University?
I think the first thing is, go to our website. Go to our website and see what our enrollment process is to apply. You have to apply and you have to be accepted. This isn't just, hey, pay us some money and you'll take some fun classes. The amount of devotion and work and high level of frequency that are offered in these classes, I mean, they're priceless. I mean, you could pay $1 billion, it wouldn't be enough. But having said that, it's not about us just making the money that we deserve because of what we offer for you. It's about you having to be ready. So we qualify you. So go to Masters of Self University, check us out, go to enrollment, see what we're all about, fill out the application, right? And once you do that, you can schedule an enrollment meeting and we'll start the process of, getting you approved to be a part of this university.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Rachel. And for everybody out there, share this with anybody that is interested in enrolling as a student at our metaphysical school. And we will see you in class. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.